Stop letting your parents have such a big say in your life. Now, I'm not saying don't listen to your parents. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying when they say something to you, don't give what they say so much weight over you. Don't carry it around. Don't make it so heavy inside of you. And you'll be like, you might think, oh, well, I haven't been with my parents for ages. I live separately from them. I'm all good. But you'd be so surprised at how much influence your parents have and had, I should say, and have over your mind, over the way you think. I was just telling my mum yesterday that the difference between my mum's voice inside of me versus my dad's voice, like when I think of my mum's voice versus when I think of my dad's voice, my mum's voice is very encouraging. It's very gentle. It's like she's always got this voice inside of me that to achieve my dreams, to go out and achieve my dreams. My dad's voice is he wants to keep me here. He wants to keep me like where I am. And he still wants me to grow, but he just doesn't want me to like go off and do anything like different. And sometimes that's difficult if you have a parent that wants to just keep you in that familiar land that you're in that familiar, doing those familiar things that you've always been doing, what people know you for, what your family knows you for, but you want to go off and do something different. It can be difficult to have a parent who doesn't really encourage that. But what I've realized very recently in the last month, that you need both of those voices. You need both of those voices inside of you. You need that gentle voice, your mum's voice, that's very encouraging and for you to go and do something different. But you also need your dad's voice. And those two voices are just reflections of what's happening inside of you anyway. But you also need your dad's voice, the one that wants to keep you there and keep you doing what you're doing, even though you're not really enjoying it. You need that voice so that it gives you the extra kick to go and do something different. It's like when a seed is planted, a seed needs the sunshine. It needs the beautiful sunshine in order to grow. But it also needs the dirt. It also needs the soil, the manure that's found in the soil. It needs both of those things to sprout and grow into a tree. And so one of the biggest shifts that I made in my life that you can make in your life too is to stop seeing your parents as your parents and start seeing them as people. Now, why is that such a big shift that you can make? Well, because when you make that shift from parent to person, the parent you put up on a pedestal and you're like, oh, whatever they say means a lot. And because it did when you were young, it meant so much to you when you were young. You listened to them for so long. You followed them around for so long. They did so much for you. There's no taking that away. There never will be. But you come to the stage in your life, especially when you become a parent, you see this even more with more clarity, that you do need to go off and do your own thing. You do need to separate from what they want for you and start doing what you want for you. And so when you start seeing them as people, you start realizing, oh, yeah, they have their own opinions and their own beliefs like any other person, and they're just trying to help me, but I can help myself. Like I'm old enough, I'm wise enough now to go out and create my own path and walk my own path. The second decision that you can make right now that can change your life right now is to get out of your familiar environment, to get out of your familiar land. And if that's not an option, if you're a parent or you're in a place and you can't get out of this place for whatever reason, then if you can't get out of your familiar land, then you must get out of your familiar mind. But if you do have that option to go into a familiar land, a place that you know nothing about, you don't know the people, you don't know what's there for you, but you just go, so many doors will open for you. Because environment is everything. It's everything. Just the other day, I was talking to a man and he said, when you go to a new place, you not only go there physically, but you go to a new place mentally too. And I read this morning that there's, on average, the average person has 60,000 thoughts flow through their head per day. And while you don't hear all 60,000 of them, because that would just be that would be mental, but typically we keep in the same loops, the same thought patterns. But when we go into this new place, we start having new thoughts, and we start realizing that, oh, when I go and do new things, when I go and do different things, new pathways open up in my mind. And I read this line from his spiritual book by Ram Dass, Be Here Now, and he talks about his spiritual guru Maharaji, and Maharaji says, you have the keys to your own mind and you can turn them in any direction you want. So I don't think it's probably new news to you that so much of your life is just based on your beliefs, your limiting beliefs. Like Tony Robbins says this, Russell Brunson says this, Myron Golden says this, all these big gurus, masterminds, they all say it's all based on your limiting beliefs. And one way to break that easily, instead of just sitting in a room and trying to like get control over your mind and power over your mind and break these beliefs, is just to go to a new place. But for that reason, you don't go to this new place to just go on a holiday and like get away from everything. It's like you're going there to become a new person. And you know, there's that quote that if you spend your time around 5 drunks, you'll be the 6th. If you spend your time around 5 people who think differently, talk differently, like-minded people, then you're going to be the 6th one. So that's why it's so important to get out of your familiar land. And if that's not an option, then get out of your familiar mind, which is a lot harder. All right, the third decision that you can make right now that can change your life is to do it now. If you have the option to change your life in some way right now, then do it. Like, I don't get what you're waiting for. And I'm kind of talking to myself here because I wait on things too, and then I end up doing them after a few months, and I realize when I do it that I could have done it when I thought about it first or second or third time, not like the 100th time that I thought about it. And so I always love asking myself the question, and you can ask yourself this question too, is Russell Brunson talks about this. He says, what is the one big domino in my life? And what that means is currently there is one big domino in your life that if you knocked it down, then all the other dominoes in your life would be knocked down as well. It would take care of a lot of your problems. It would solve a lot of the challenges that you're facing right now. And you would get to move and start moving into that person and that life that you want to have. There's one big domino that you can make right now, one big decision. Because you're not getting any younger. And especially when you become a parent, actually even just when you get older, you realize that time is speeding up. Like time gets faster as you get older. It's something you realize only when you're older. When you're younger, you think time goes, there's no such thing as time. I'm going to be this young forever. Everything's going to last forever. But then especially when you get older, and especially even more when you become a parent, you realize how finite time is. But I think that's a super encouraging thing because it makes you literally do things now. Act quickly, act promptly, be proactive, not reactive. I love this story about a guy who owns this huge company, has this huge skyscraper building, and in every single room of the building, in every single elevator, in every single staircase, in the entrance of the building, he has a sign that says one thing. It says, do it now, do it now, do it now. Everywhere you go, do it now. While it seems funny, it's such a different way of operating in your life because what it brings to your life is presence. And if you're wondering like how it feels to be living your greatest life, well, it feels like, for example, when you jump off an airplane but you don't have to jump off an airplane to feel presence, by the way. Or if you just do something different, you'll feel the presence in your life. You'll feel very present. And I love that there's a picture on Instagram or Facebook or something that is a picture of a dog sitting on a park bench with a human. And the title of the picture is Why Dogs Are So Happy. And it's because while the dog is sitting there, the dog is thinking about absolutely nothing. The dog is just thinking about sitting there with its owner, and it's so happy. Why? Because it's just present. But the human is thinking about a vacation, the bills it has to pay, the dinner it has to cook tonight, and all of those things might happen, and you might think about them a little bit, but they shouldn't be on your mind all the time, because then you'll never actually be here. You'll always be somewhere else. And I actually researched before I started this video the definition of presence. And it was defined in the 1300s. And the definition of it is being in the same place as someone or something. It's so simple, but it's what many people struggle with. So it's just being fully where you are. And the more that you can be fully where you are, the more doors it'll open up for you where you are and for your future too. And so those 3 decisions changed my life, and they can also change your life too. Remember, that first decision was Stop seeing your parents as parents, start seeing them as people. The second one was get out of your familiar land, your familiar territory, and go and do something different. The third one was to do it now. Go and do it now. I hope this video does wonders for your world. My name is Jack Little. As always, be kind, be caring, be courageous, and I'll see you on the next video. Lots of love.